The moment my daughter-in-law shouted, "Leave! You don't belong here!" In front of nearly 300 elegantly dressed wedding guests, the entire celebration unknowingly stepped onto the edge of disaster. The bride, now Vanessa Hartley, stood proudly beneath crystal chandeliers, convinced she had just protected her perfect wedding image from embarrassment. What she never realized was that the man she had publicly humiliated was secretly the very foundation of her perfect day. Every single detail around her existed because of me. The grand ballroom, the imported white roses, the orchestra softly playing behind her, the champagne she held while insulting me, even the custom designer gown she wore as she looked down on me with cold superiority. All of it, quietly, had been paid from my private accounts. I didn't argue with her. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't create a scene. Instead, I simply stepped aside, pulled my phone from my pocket, and sent a message to a number saved under a discreet business contact. Terminate all authorizations immediately. Code 8925. Exactly half a minute later, the celebration began to unravel. First, the musicians stopped mid-melody. Then the catering staff received calls through their earpieces and slowly disappeared into service hallways. Trays of food vanished before guests could even notice. The dessert station attendants packed their equipment without explanation. Within minutes, confusion rippled across the ballroom like a wave. Vanessa's dream wedding didn't end loudly. It collapsed quietly. Because people like her never imagine the possibility that the person they insult might be the one holding every financial string. That evening became the most expensive lesson she would ever learn. One text message exposed pride, entitlement, and a family's true character more brutally than any argument could. She believed she was marrying into modest circumstances. Instead, she had unknowingly declared war on wealth, far beyond her understanding. If you want to know how kindness hidden in silence turned into consequences no one expected, keep listening. Because what followed left even me shaken. My name is Edward Harrington. For over 30 years, I worked as a corporate attorney in downtown San Diego. I negotiated multi-million-dollar contracts, watched powerful partnerships collapse over a single clause, and learned a simple truth. The most dangerous arrogance comes from people who think they understand someone completely. Yet nothing in my professional career prepared me for betrayal from my own family. 3 years after my wife, Margaret, passed away from cancer, I settled into a quiet retirement life. I moved into a modest apartment in Glendale, spent mornings reading newspapers at a corner cafe, and kept my daily routine simple. My son, Daniel Harrington, believed I was living on limited retirement savings, and that was intentional. Daniel had always been ambitious, but not the kind that builds patiently. His ambition leaned toward entitlement, as if success was something life owed him, rather than something earned. After his mother died, his conversation subtly changed. He would gently suggest I should relax and not worry about finances anymore. In other words, he was waiting for inheritance. When he announced his engagement to Vanessa, a polished marketing executive from Newport Beach, I decided to quietly observe. I wanted to know what kind of man my son truly was when he believed his father had nothing left to offer him. Months before the wedding, Daniel called me late one evening, voice tight with stress. "Dad, I don't know how we're going to manage this wedding. Vanessa's parents want the ceremony at the Ocean View Grand Resort. The estimate came back at $300,000. He hesitated. "I only have about $35,000 saved, and her family can barely add more. We might have to postpone." I paused deliberately. "That's a lot, son." "I know. And I know you don't have much either after Mom's treatment bills. Don't worry, we'll handle it somehow." I simply replied, "You will? You've always been resourceful." What he didn't know was that the very next morning, I contacted an old associate, Eleanor Brooks, who now owned a private event coordination firm. I gave her one instruction. A young couple needs financial help. They must never know where the support is coming from. A week later, Daniel called again, but this time excited. "Dad, you won't believe this. Vanessa got contacted by an event company. They said we won a luxury wedding sponsorship giveaway. Venue, decorations, photographer, everything covered. Even a honeymoon trip." I expressed convincing surprise. "That's incredible. You must have wonderful luck." But over the following 6 months, I began noticing something troubling. The wedding planning didn't just reveal stress. It revealed character. Vanessa cared deeply about appearances, the size of the engagement ring, the reputation of the caterer, the brand of linens. All mattered more than people. She spoke about their future life as if luxury were guaranteed. What hurt more was how they spoke about me. During monthly dinners at my apartment, I overheard conversations they thought I couldn't hear. One night, from the kitchen doorway, I heard Daniel say quietly, "I think Dad keeps asking about honeymoon plans because he wonders if we need money." Vanessa replied with a soft laugh. "He can't help us. Look at this place. It's tiny." Daniel answered, "Mom's hospital bills wiped him out. Selling the house was the only way he survived." Vanessa sighed with relief. "At least we won't have to support him when he's older." I stood there holding dinner plates, realizing my son believed I was financially broken. The truth? I sold my previous house voluntarily and invested nearly $8 million into diversified holdings. The apartment was simplicity, not necessity. They didn't know. Worse, they never cared to know. When the wedding invitation arrived, I studied the printed line carefully. Daniel Harrington, son of Edward Harrington and the late Margaret Harrington. No title, no acknowledgement. Just a name, a formality. Vanessa even included a handwritten note. "Please let us know if you need help finding suitable attire for the ceremony." A polite sentence with an obvious meaning? Don't embarrass us. That same afternoon, I had my tailor prepare one of my formal suits, and then I contacted my financial manager. Because by that point, I had already made a decision. "Dad, I know you don't really drive much anymore, especially after dark. Sophia's cousin Ethan said he can pick you up and take you to the ceremony." I almost smiled at that. The truth was, I had stopped owning a car by choice, not necessity. Living downtown using rideshare services was simply more practical than paying insurance, parking, and maintenance for something I rarely needed. But Michael had interpreted my decision as limitation, not preference. "That's thoughtful," I replied calmly. "What time?" 4:30. The ceremony begins at 6, but there's a cocktail hour before. Ethan will also drop you home afterwards so you don't have to worry about getting back late at night. Again, the assumption that I couldn't handle the ordinary logistics of adult life. The night before the wedding, Michael came to visit. I expected a sentimental father-son moment. Maybe a drink, maybe memories about his childhood. Instead, he seemed distracted. He checked his phone constantly, barely maintaining eye contact. "Nervous?" I asked. "A little," he admitted. "Sophia's parents are particular about presentation. Her father is a cardiac surgeon, and her mother runs a major nonprofit foundation. They're used to a certain standard." "And what standard is that?" I asked. He hesitated. "Professional. Polished. You know." I studied him carefully. When had my son started measuring people by appearance? When had he begun comparing his own father to strangers' expectations? "Michael," I said slowly, "is there something you want to tell me about tomorrow?" He glanced at his phone again before speaking. "Just maybe don't mention the apartment, or public transit routes, or things like that. Sophia's family doesn't really understand different lifestyles." After he left that evening, I made one final call. "Laura, I said when my financial advisor answered. Execute the payment structure we discussed and schedule all vendor payments to process exactly 24 hours after the ceremony. Yes, Mr. Bennett, she replied calmly. The next afternoon, I put on my best charcoal suit and waited outside for Ethan. I had no idea I was on my way to the most humiliating moment of my life. The Grand Shoreline Hotel overlooking the marina was everything Sophia had imagined. Crystal chandeliers, ocean view terraces, hundreds of white roses lining marble hallways. Ethan arrived in a sleek electric car and spent the entire drive explaining how expensive everything was. Sophia has been planning this for 8 months, he said proudly. The dress alone cost $120,000. The photographer shot a celebrity wedding last year. Honestly, this whole event probably costs more than most people earn in a year. I nodded politely, while mentally calculating the real total he was short by at least another $100,000. The cocktail hour was already underway when we arrived. Sophia looked radiant in her designer gown, surrounded by bridesmaids. Michael stood nearby in a rented tuxedo, smiling as if he had won the lottery, which in his mind he probably had. I recognized the crowd instantly. Corporate executives, medical specialists, investors, and entrepreneurs. People who measured success by postal codes and vacation destinations. I had spent decades in rooms like this. Only tonight I was standing on the outside of the circle. Sophia's father approached me first. Mr. Bennett, he said with a firm handshake. I'm Dr. Harrison Cole. We're delighted Michael is joining our family. Interesting wording. Joining theirs, not forming a new one. It's a beautiful ceremony, I said politely. We wanted to give Sophia the wedding she deserves. No expense spared, he replied proudly. Though, honestly, the total cost would probably shock you. Another quiet assumption about my finances. A few minutes later, Sophia and her mother joined us. Her mother smiled politely but without warmth. Sophia appreciates that Michael comes from humble beginnings, she said. It keeps him grounded. I glanced around the massive ballroom decorated with flowers and crystal. Simple living? I asked lightly. Sophia laughed, touching my arm in a slightly condescending manner. Not everyone lives the way we do, but there's beauty in having less. Then the photographer approached nervously. Excuse me, there seems to be a payment issue. The venue says the final authorization hasn't cleared. Her mother frowned immediately. That's impossible. Within minutes, the wedding coordinator, florist, and catering manager arrived with the same message. Payments had been suspended. Dinner service could not continue without settlement. The total outstanding balance, $263,000. The air changed instantly. Music softened. Guests whispered. Michael looked pale. And then Sophia looked at me. Not casually, not politely, carefully, like someone realizing the person they dismissed might suddenly matter. This is ridiculous, she said loudly. Then she turned directly toward me. Honestly, it would be best if you left. You don't really belong here, and we have serious problems to handle. Silence filled the ballroom. My son, my only child, said nothing. I stood there holding my drink while my future daughter-in-law removed me from my own son's wedding. She continued speaking, now louder. This is about building a future. We can't focus on solutions while dealing with distractions. I took one slow sip, then reached into my jacket and pulled out my phone. I typed a single message. Initiate immediate suspension. Authorization code 7419. I pressed send. Then I looked at her calmly. You're right, I said gently. I don't belong here. As I walked toward the exit, notifications began sounding behind me, and the perfect wedding started collapsing. During the Uber ride home, my phone rang repeatedly. I didn't answer. Instead, I called my wealth manager. All actions completed. she said. "Payment authorization terminated at 7:46 p.m. Vendors now require immediate cash payment. Also, the trust clause has been activated." "Amount owed?" I asked. $263,000 for the venue and vendors, $32,000 honeymoon package canceled, and their joint account balance is now $4,112. I had spent 6 months arranging everything. Not revenge, but a lesson. The wedding funding had never been a prize. It was a conditional gift. And respect was the condition. By the time I reached my apartment in Riverton Heights, my phone showed 17 missed calls from Michael and 4 voicemails I wasn't emotionally ready to hear. Instead, I poured myself a proper scotch. Macallan, 25. Not exactly the sort of bottle a man supposedly surviving on a modest retirement income would keep in his cabinet. I settled into my leather reading chair and pressed play. The first voicemail was Michael, panicked. "Dad, call me back right now. Something went wrong with the wedding payments. They're saying we owe more than $200,000. Sophia's family is already talking about lawyers, and I don't even understand what's happening." The second message came 20 minutes later. More desperate. "Dad, please. I know you're upset about what Sophia said, but we have to fix this. They won't even serve dinner unless someone pays immediately. Guests are starting to notice." The third voicemail was Sophia herself. Her voice was tight, strained, barely controlled. "Mr. Bennett, I don't know what kind of stunt you're pulling, but you need to correct this immediately. There are 300 guests expecting a proper reception, and your childish reaction is destroying my wedding." I deleted that one before it finished. The fourth message was from her father. "Richard," Dr. Cole said carefully, trying very hard to sound calm. "I believe we should have an adult conversation about tonight. The venue management suggested you may have knowledge regarding the payment situation. I'm sure we can resolve this professionally." He didn't realize I had spent 30 years resolving situations professionally, and I was exceptionally good at it. My phone rang again. "Michael?" 6th time in 20 minutes. This time, I answered. "Dad, thank God," he exhaled. "We're in serious trouble. Sophia's parents had to put $15,000 on credit cards just to get dinner served. The reception might be shut down. People are leaving. She's not handling it well." "I imagine she isn't," I replied calmly. "Dad, I need to ask you something. The wedding coordinator says the payments came from a trust account. When she contacted the financial firm, they said authorization was revoked by the account holder. Do you know anything about that?" I took a slow sip of scotch and let the silence stretch. Sometimes silence is the most powerful answer. "Michael," I finally said, "do you remember what your mother used to teach you about respect?" "Dad, this isn't the time." "She used to say respect isn't based on what someone can give you. It's recognizing their worth as a person. Do you remember that?" "Dad, Sophia's parents are threatening lawsuits, and the planner keeps talking about breach of contract. And your wife told me I didn't belong at your wedding," I said quietly, "in front of 300 people." "She was stressed," he said weakly. "The payment issue had just happened." "No," I replied. She meant exactly what she said. Silence. Then I asked the question, "Do you agree with her?" In the background, I could hear chaos, raised voices, hurried footsteps, celebration collapsing into crisis. "Of course I don't," Michael said. But there was no certainty in his voice. "You're my father." "Am I?" I asked gently. "When was the last time you asked about my life instead of assuming it?" He hesitated. "Dad, I don't understand what you're saying. When was the last time you considered you might be wrong about my finances? Can you fix this tonight?" he finally asked. "Yes or no?" I walked to the window overlooking the glowing city skyline. Somewhere across the city, my son stood inside a luxury wedding reception, unraveling piece by piece. And his wife was learning that cruelty has consequences. "Michael," I said softly, "I think tonight is going to be very educational for you." Then I ended the call and turned off my phone. The real lesson had only just begun. Sunday morning greeted me with 17 text messages, 12 voicemails, and 3 emails, all increasingly desperate. Apparently, the reception had continued for 1 more hour before venue management shut everything down. Guests left early. The photographer packed up. The catering staff stopped service. Dr. Cole sent a formal email demanding a meeting regarding financial responsibility. But Michael's final voicemail convinced me. His voice sounded hollow. "Dad, I need to see you. Not about the money. I think I'm finally understanding things I should have realized a long time ago. Can I come tomorrow morning?" At 9 a.m. sharp, he knocked. He looked exhausted. Wrinkled clothes, red eyes, the expression of a man who had spent the night confronting uncomfortable truths. "Coffee?" I asked. He nodded and sat at my kitchen table, the same table where he'd done homework as a boy. But now he looked around carefully. At the artwork, at the solid wood furniture, at the high-end espresso machine he'd always assumed was cheap. "Dad," he finally asked quietly, "who paid for my wedding?" "That," I said, pouring 2 cups of Jamaican Blue Mountain coffee, "is an interesting question." He stared at the cup. The coordinator showed me documents. All payments came from the Harrington Family Trust. When Sophia called the financial firm, they said the primary account holder suspended authorization. He looked up slowly. "That was you, wasn't it?" I sat across from him. "Michael," I said calmly, "do you know what a moral conduct clause is?" He shook his head. "It's a legal provision in estate planning. It protects family assets if a beneficiary publicly humiliates or disrespects a member of the family." He didn't move. "I'm saying," I continued gently, "last night your wife announced to 300 guests that I was an embarrassment and that I didn't belong in my own son's life." The room fell completely silent. And for the first time since childhood, Michael had no answer. Michael's voice trembled. "Dad." She was stressed. Everything collapsed because of the payments. I looked at him steadily. "The payments were never the problem, Michael. They were the test." The words seemed to physically hit him. I watched the color slowly drain from his face. "You mean, you planned this?" "I created a situation," I said calmly, "where you had one simple choice. Either stand beside your father with respect or reveal how little I truly meant in your life." His lips parted, but no words came. "Sophia chose humiliation," I continued, "and you chose silence." He covered his face with both hands. "God, what have we done?" "You learned," I said quietly, "that there is a difference between having money and understanding money." The truth revealed. I walked to my study, the same room Michael always believed was just a small office, and returned carrying a thick leather folder. Inside were documents. Bank summaries. Property deeds. Investment reports. Trust certificates. I placed them in front of him. 3 years ago, after your mother passed away, I made decisions about how I wanted to live the rest of my life. I sold the San Marino estate. Not because I was ruined, but because I no longer needed a mansion to feel fulfilled. I chose this apartment because I liked its peace. He stared at the pages. "The hospital bills you believe destroyed me?" I said. "Covered by insurance and a healthcare trust I created years earlier. The modest lifestyle you pitied? A deliberate choice." His eyes stopped on the first page. Liquid assets. $54,800,000. His voice was barely a whisper. 4 million? As of last Friday's Arcade Close, I confirmed. He leaned back as if the chair might collapse beneath him. "The Bennett Family Trust," I said softly, "listed you as primary beneficiary. Until yesterday evening at 7:43 p.m. His eyes shot up. The moral conduct clause activated. When your wife publicly rejected me at the wedding I paid for, your inheritance rights were automatically suspended for a review period. He looked physically sick. Sophia doesn't know. No, I said. She married a man she believed came from nothing, and treated him, and his father, accordingly. The phone call. My phone rang. Dr. Cole. Michael swallowed. That's her father. I assumed so. I answered on the fourth ring and placed it on speaker. Richard, Dr. Cole said coldly. We need a serious conversation about last night and the financial damage your actions caused. I'm listening. Our family was forced to cover nearly $300,000 in expenses because you revoked payments. Unfortunate, I replied calmly. Unfortunate? We're discussing breach of contract and legal action. Did your attorney review the payment terms and authorization conditions? A pause. They came from a family trust. Yes, I said. With behavioral conditions. I explained the clause. I explained the humiliation. I explained the consequences. Silence. Then he said, You set a trap. No, I corrected gently. I gave your daughter a choice. Michael grabbed his head. Dr. Cole's tone hardened. If you think you can play games with our family, you've chosen the wrong people. Are you threatening me? I'm informing you there will be consequences. After the call ended, Michael stared at me. Dad, what have you done? I've given you a lesson about character. Legal pressure. Begins messages began flooding my phone. Sophia, my father contacted lawyers. My uncle is a federal judge. You're destroying Michael's career. Fix this immediately. I showed Michael the screen. Has anyone, I asked him calmly, suggested apologizing? He said nothing. Judge Morrison, soon another call came. Judge Patricia Morrison. She spoke carefully after reviewing the trust documentation. The clause is legally valid, she admitted. Then she proposed a meeting. A family meeting. Neutral ground, no lawyers. I agreed. But I also made preparations. Contacted my attorney for conditional trust revisions. Requested background financial checks. Prepared financial presentations. Arranged vendor confirmations. Michael grew nervous. What if they refuse to apologize? Then, I said, we will finally see their true character. The meeting we met at a private dining room in an old downtown club. Sophia had been crying, but pride held her posture rigid. Dr. Cole opened aggressively with legal threats. I slid a document across the table. His face went pale. A past disciplinary investigation. Sealed, but real. I don't enjoy leverage, I said calmly, but I understand it. Then I presented the wedding contracts. Each vendor agreement contained a clause. Public disrespect toward the financial guarantor voided payment protection. The room froze. You can't do that, Sophia whispered. I already did. I revealed the truth. The wedding gift, the payments, the trust. And the widower you pitied, I said, is worth approximately $54 million. Tears streamed down her face. The real lesson. I showed them a photo. My wedding to Helen, a $417 ceremony, a grocery store cake, a church hall. But everyone there loved us, I said softly. Money provides comfort, not character. Then I revealed one final action. I paid the remaining wedding balance this morning. Silence. I also created a university scholarship fund with the same amount your family spent saving face. Why? Dr. Cole asked. Because punishment doesn't create character. Choice does. The trust remained frozen. If you want a future, I told them, you will build it yourselves. Epilogue, 6 months later. 6 months later, Michael knocked on my door. He looked different, older, humbled. They were living in a small apartment, working ordinary jobs, struggling financially. "But we talk now," he said, "about real things. Sophia wants to apologize, not for money, but because she understands." Then he asked, "Were you happy when you and Mom had nothing?" I smiled. "We were scared most days," I admitted. "But yes, we were happy. Because we were building something together." He nodded. "I think I finally understand the difference between being giving a life and creating one." I sat quietly with a glass of scotch. Sometimes the greatest inheritance a parent can give is not wealth. It is strength. And for the first time since the wedding, I felt peace.